So the topic today is the thread of divinity. The thread of divinity, which is invisible. But it's something we all have, everything has. We are all part of this beautiful tapestry of life that Spirit has woven together with invisible thread. And of course, if we're going to reach out and touch someone's hand, we've talked about this, we always talk about this, first hand we should reach out and touch, of course, is the hand of God, the divinity. Because that thread is within us. It's at the core of our being. In fact, we're all here because we're all on a spiritual journey, right? We're all here because we want to wake up spiritually. Why is that? Because to wake up spiritually means we are getting closer and closer to that place where we know God completely. We don't have to define it, but we know it. And so that place is within us. The spiritual journey starts within. We all know that. It starts here. I mean, a lot of us, we go to our classes and we read books and we take courses and we listen to people and we do all the good work out there. And it means something. But it doesn't mean enough until we take it in right here. Because that's where that invisible thread lives and has its being. It's right at the core of our being. So when we talk about reaching out, we first have to touch the hand of God, and then we pull that in, because that invisible thread is the power cord. You know, our computer won't work without power. Our bodies need the power of our hearts and our blood and all the rest. We need the power of Spirit to live our good lives that we're meant to live. And when we're on this spiritual journey, the whole intention is to make life better and better, because that invisible thread becomes a cord, becomes so strong it becomes unbreakable. And that's what we're doing, and that's why we're here. The real transformation that we talk about is from within. It has to be. And when we talk about enlightenment, it sounds like something that happens outside to someone sitting on the top of a mountain. Enlightenment is when our head and our heart so connect with that invisible thread of Spirit that it's oneness. And we're all capable, we all have flashing moments of it, but we're capable of that oneness and that unity and that thread. But just like any power cord, it doesn't work if it's not plugged in. So we can, that we don't have to, we can ignore that we have Spirit in us that wants to be expressed, but the divine mind, which is that power cord, needs an outlet. And for us, if we want to be that outlet, we have to recognize that we have it, and then we have to use it and understand it. So what happens? What's the problem? Why are we running around nutty? That's just a nice term for what I'm really thinking, but it's nutty. Why are we running around forgetting who we are? Well, I think three things, and if I remember them, I'll be lucky. But let's just start with number one. In our ignorance, because we don't know the whole truth, we forget, we haven't learned, we haven't practiced. So in our ignorance, we misuse that power by living from the outside in instead of that inside out. We live from the outside in and we try to get more. We need this to be happy. We need this to be happy. I'll be happy when. My life will be fulfilled when. And we're reaching out there and we misuse this power for good because it's goodness. It's unity. It's oneness that's there, but we misuse it in ignorance. We also misuse it because we get so dang self-centered. It's all about me. It's all about me. It really is. Well, yes, there's an importance. We have to take care of ourselves and love ourselves. However, there's always something more. A friend this week asked if I'd just sit for a minute, just sit for a minute. And we were just talking. I said, well, I've just gotten back from PT and physical therapy. And he said, well, what's wrong? I said, well, I'm working on my back. It's good, it's all fine. He said, I know the bodies are starting to do crazy things. And he said, I have this new diagnosis and I don't want it. And so my wife was trying to help me last night and I got really mad at her. I just was so irritated with her. She wanted to help me with something. I didn't want help. I don't want help. I don't need help. What's going on? And he said he went to bed mad. And he woke up in the morning mad at her. And he said, what did she do? Nothing. So he had to look at himself, and he said what he was mad at is that he felt his body was denying him and failing him. And once he could understand that, he could put it in a bigger perspective. But you see, when we get mad at the world out there, there's something in us that needs to be looked at and understood, something calling us. How many, okay, think of something or someone you're mad at right now. Was that hard? I don't know. Because remember, we're going this way, and there's three fingers pointing back at us because we're not taking responsibility to look at ourselves, and see what is it that I need to know, I need to take care of. I need to expand my thought, because the only way, it's interesting, our heart holds the love, but for divine mind, it has to go through our mind, because our mind, what we think, are we open or closed to accepting new thoughts, new ideas, new things in our life? That mind is important. So we want to open our mind so we can open our hearts, so we can accept more of the truth about ourselves, and the healing begins. Tammy, thank you for that. And we can also open our minds and hearts that we can include more in our life. And the third thing, this is hard, negativity. How many times are the first words out of your mouth about something that's going wrong, instead of all the things in the world that are going right? We have a tendency to do that, and it's understandable, but we've got to shift it. Because when we have too much negativity in our life, we start labeling things. We might not use the word evil, but we start giving them power. And evil, it just means live spelled backwards. Evil is not an entity in itself. It's just the way we think. So we want to catch ourselves. We want to start thinking about the things that are going right. Fine, it's fine to talk about things that are going wrong, the things we do to share things together. Of course, we need each other to understand. But I don't want that to be our focus. I want to talk about the things that are right and good and true right now. So that starts with changing some of the things we think about. First of all, Ernest Holmes says, the highest and the lowest are in everything. Everything. There's nothing that doesn't have good, bad, right, wrong, yes, no. We all have it all in us. Mean, happy, joy, sadness, all of it. It's what we focus on and what we choose to be. My dear friend Rumi says, in God, the rose and the thorn blend. But as we evolve and as we grow and as we become, the mystics teach and say and profess that good must finally triumph over what we call evil. Because that's the journey we're on. We're a journey of awakening and growing and becoming. But first of all, we have to step out of the thoughts of all the dualism and all the dualistic thinking and the paradox of right and wrong. We have to step in to recognize, yes, there is one God, which we're all part of. There's just one. There's only one. There's not two. That unity permeates everything, everything, everything. Jesus said, one day you will realize that I am in God, and you are in me, and I am in you. And this is a way to interpret that. I want you to think about this. No one can enter. This is a new way, okay? So don't throw tomatoes or anything. But no one can enter the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God, the kingdom of good, without desiring that all others come with them. We're not in this alone. So much of life is about successful relationships and relations and connections. It doesn't mean just, yes, we have to have that with ourselves. How we define ourselves, who we are, how we define who we are is going to really interpret a lot about our relationships in life. If we are a child of God, a child of love, if we are an outpicturing of spirit, if we're a useful, beneficial presence right here and now, then we're going to see the world in a different way. But I don't mean just having relations at home. They may be the hardest, so let me start somewhere else. I don't know, but it's about all of your relations. I don't know where to start because they can all be tough, because we're teachers for each other. It's not all going to be easy. We're going to grow. We're going to become, just as my friend had to do, realizing when in his anger, it was really about himself he had to make peace with, instead of pointing it out into the world. It's hard in this time, relationships, but it starts, remember, Ernest Holmes said, peace in mind and peace in heart. So what do we do about it? First, always that hand thing. I don't know why that's so important to me. We say a hand in God and a hand out to the world. We have to be useful. We have to be useful. I said a few weeks ago, if you're feeling down and depressed and everything's going wrong, how can I serve? How can I be of use? What can I do? Rumi said, be a lamp. Be a lifeboat. Be a ladder. Bring light. Bring security. Bring upliftment. Do something to make the world more beautiful and better. But we can't stop there. It's not enough for us just to be, oh, got to be useful. We'll wear ourselves out. We have to be receptive. We can't give what we don't have. So we have to be receptive, be useful, and be used, and open a space to be receptive, not only just to spirit and the power within, but if we're giving all the time, how can other people be useful? We're not giving others an opportunity to be helpful. If we say, no, I can do it myself, no, all the time, we're cutting off other people living fully and feeling fully alive. We want to be powerful and productive, and we want to have an independence about us, but we want to be open to the goodness that's around us. Now, I have to tell you one other thing that you may be a little upset about, but that's okay. That's why I'm here. On this spiritual journey, once we really broaden and open up to more of who we are, once we have that plug-in pretty firm and tight, that we're just powered by spirit, powered by love, that's what we are, we'll realize that love is all-encompassing and love changes things. And I had a new way. I hadn't realized, the thought about entering the kingdom of heaven, we've got to want everybody else with us too. Of course, that's good. But here's something else. When Jesus said, love one another, love your enemies, he didn't say it as a command. He said it as a reward. Love is fulfilling. And if we can love ourselves, yes, we feel good. But if we can love everyone, can you imagine how good that would feel? What a blessing and a gift that would be if we could love everybody. I thought this morning, yes, it's nice to say, I love Karen and Steve, and I love Janet, and I love Reverend Sage and Roberta. No, I love everybody. Man, it's so much bigger and better. I love everybody. So that's your homework. But I usually say, oh, that's so hard. It isn't. It doesn't mean you have to spend a ton of time with them. It also doesn't mean you have to love everything they do. We can separate that out because we can't deplete ourselves by spending time with people that drain us or aren't the best for us. That doesn't work, but we can love them all the same. Are you getting that? Oh, come on, get it. Make things easier for me. Say, yes, I get it. I know you don't want to do it, but it's just what we need to do to make. If we say we do our prayers for peace, we have to be that. And we have to be open to that. As Joseph Campbell, who said, the purpose of this journey is compassion. Matthew Fox said, compassion and peace of mind should be our religion. And I had something very interesting happen. I get my nails done because I started getting my nails done, and sometimes when you start, you can't stop. You have to keep maintaining them, And And so I go into the nail shop, and it's not always my favorite place to be because it's taking time out of what I'd rather be doing. But I enter in, and I'm quiet, and a lot of people are chatting, and that's our social time. And I'm usually just quiet, and I'll just sit there. And so yesterday when I was there, and because I'd gone in and the girl had done the time, and I had to come back in an hour and a half, and I was nice about that and came back. And one of the girls said, not the girl doing my nails that I go to, but she said, I just want to tell you I love when you come in the shop. Because you bring an energy of peace with you. And it uplifts everybody. Just being peaceful. I always thought, oh gosh, they probably think I'm antisocial, I don't talk very much. It's just the bigger picture of what can happen when we listen and just be instead of keep the noise going all the time. So anyway, yes, that peace and compassion must be practiced, but that was, gosh, people that say things make such a difference. There's a San Francisco poet, and he's recently passed. He was a Pulitzer Prize nominee. He's somebody who cared deeply about others, and his name is Eugene Ruggles. And he gave this little excerpt, this little poem that touched me deeply. We might dream of the day that we can say, I have no enemies left. Some friends are late. They haven't arrived quite on time. But I can say I have no enemies left. Come in. There's no lock. No lock on my door. Just come in. Hang your coat beside the fire and pull up a chair next to the edge. We shall drink tea and clear the path, leading back to the heart's first address. What's the heart's first address? Love, Spirit, God. It's all those good things, the heart's first address. Mark Nepo says, if another world is possible, it's this one remade and revealed through our own awakening, our own evolution, our own coming greater and more accepting in this beautiful world in which we live. We need to find that balance by looking for what's working, what's coming together, more than we do what's coming apart. Instead of always looking at how things are different, look at how things are the same. We have to start bringing together all the places that we can feel and see love already working. All right, I want you to stand up. If you can. If you can't, stay seated. But if you can stand right now comfortably, just stand up. Because we need to take a stand right now for something better. Would you agree with me right now? We want something better. Yes. We want a world that is working. We want people that can listen and share and be and care for one another. So if you and I are going to really say we've lived and done our part on the planet, because I believe we've come here, we've chosen, whether we believe it or not, I do feel that. We've chosen to be here at this time because we want to weave life together and uplift us. So our world feels like it's shaken apart right now because we need to wake up. And if we're going to say, I lived, I really lived, it's about being in that balance of receiving and giving this way from spirit to humanity and with each other. Remember, Ernest Holmes said before he entered a room, he'd feel his arms were around all the people in the room. All of them. Because that's the way we live. So the thing I say so often to start it, to get ourselves awake, just repeat after me. I am alive. I am alive. I'm alert. I'm enthusiastic. I feel good. I look good. I am good. I have loved. I have lived, and I continue to do so. I love myself, I love God, and I love all of you. Now you get to go out and live it. So give yourselves a hand for being here, and just touch a hand before you sit down, because we're going to reach out and touch somebody, share our love, and know that we have truly lived. Thank you for being the people on this planet that are right here for me to love, and so it is.